What's going on, Bucksies family? This is your boy FIG, and I'm hosting. I'm hosting Bucksies. Want to welcome everybody to Bucksy. Today, all our viewers and we appreciate you. We thank you for tuning in. I got the principal in the building. He has on his Patriots hat, and I got on my Knicks hat. We are repping our teams today. Frank, I guess it's us today for right now.
Yeah, Frank, I'm waiting on other guys to jump in. So as we wait, we can have our casual conversation. By the way, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good, man. How you doing today?
I feel like I should have shaved. Now that I look at myself, I feel like I should have shaved.
the camera it shows a multitude of sins, man. That's what to do.
Yeah, I should have shaved. Now I'm looking at it,
You look like you're about to go camping.
With my Lord of the Rings shirt on.
Exactly, man. How's the boss? How's the family? Everybody good?
Everybody's good. Everybody, how's yours?
Man, everybody's good, man. What's the weather like in Beantown, man? It seems like it's lovely here today.
It's definitely like it is there.
Michael Sean, what the deal, baby?
What up? Sorry I'm late, fellas. Sorry,
man,
I'm late.
Glad to have you, man. Late is better than not showing up at all, man. Good to have you in. You know, we got two of our people that are not going to be in today. They're traveling, doing what it is that we all love to do. They're traveling to go do shows. We got Rodney Perry that's traveling, also Talent that's traveling today. So right now it's going to be us. We got some other people that might be stopping in a little later, but look, man, this is what it is. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's going on in your world?
I'm good. I'm excellent. It's a beautiful day out here in New Jersey. And just watching basketball, getting ready to talk with y'all. My favorite time of the day.
Man, mine too, man. I see it must be warm there because your fireplace ain't on.
Real talk.
I know it, man. Listen, we got a lot to unpack today, man. There's a lot of stuff happening in sports, but I guess we got to start off with this, man, because it seems like it's interwoven into what happened with one of the games yesterday, man. We had another mass shooting in America, and it just so happened to be in the state of Texas yesterday. 21 people slain, and which is always horrific, but what makes this one absolutely horrible, or even worse, is that 19 of the people slain were children in a Texas school, man. Mike, I know this is a lot to unpack so early in the day and early in the show, but what are your thoughts on something like that happening again in America?
First, I applaud Steve Kerr for what he said. I applaud him for what he said at that press conference, because I think he said it better than I could have ever said it. 50 senators do hold control of a bill that could make it damn near impossible for you to get assault weapons. Now, the problem with this whole situation is that a governor named Governor Abbott, the governor of Texas, had the audacity to send his condolences and say his prayers and all this other stuff when he has been an advocate of allowing people to have assault weapons. I don't understand why we are so obsessed with having a weapon that even if there were police on the scene there's nothing they could have done to actually shoot this guy without people dying. I lived in Texas for 7 years. I lived around the corner where I could go to a store and buy whatever weapon I wanted. And I'm not making this up. And all I had to do was show my ID. It is easier to get any weapon you want in Texas than it is to get any driver's license of any sort. And when Steve Kerr said he's tired of moments of silence, I'm tired of certain people sending prayers. And then when the bill comes up to stop people from getting assault rifles, they don't vote for it. They don't vote for it because, like he said, they want to keep their power and they want to keep their positions because there are people in this world who are so passionate about these guns. These kids died, and we're all sad. And all of us who have children, and even if you don't have children, everybody who died, we feel passionately about. And I don't know how I could exist if one of my kids passed away. But what is the point of doing this and saying all this stuff if when it comes to making a change, we don't? To me, the most disrespectful thing is to say that kids are the most important part of this country. And when they're slain, nothing changes.
Nothing at all.
And it's embarrassing. And unfortunately, I do not want to be right, because when the last situation happened in Buffalo during my morning show, when the last situation happened in Buffalo, I had the same discussion. And I said, people, you do know this is going to happen again, right? I said, you do know it's going to happen again.
Right.
And unfortunately, we do know this is going to happen again. This won't be the last time you turn your TV on and CNN or MSNBC or Fox says 15 people were killed, 20 innocent people were killed. I don't know how the answer to get these senators to actually put a bill that makes it impossible to get an assault weapon and then tell me the excuse is that you want to hunt, that you want to have the right to hunt a deer. I don't know what to do except pray.
And that's my question is, like, what are you hunting that you need an assault rifle? Are you hunting grizzly bears? Like what is it that you're hunting where you think that you need an assault rifle? Here's the thing. Steve Kerr has a direct attachment to this particular subject because his father was assassinated. And you know, it hits home with him. I would imagine that if you had anybody in your family that was a victim of gun violence, or your father or mother, brother, sister, child was assassinated or killed, or a victim of gun violence, that you would be directly, you know, you would have a direct attachment, and your feelings would be a little different than the rest of us. Although we are, you know, we feel it. I guess if you're somebody who family member has been, you know, touched by the gun violence, then you would feel differently about it. Frank, what do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, I can't say it any more eloquently than what Mike just said, because everything Mike said is absolutely right. That's number one. Number two, when I was watching CNN or one of those channels late last night, I mean, you think you feel a chill go down your spine when you hear people scream when they find out that their child was killed and they don't know. I can't even tell you, like, it shook me to my core last night. And I was watching it late last night. CNN was talking about it, and the reporter was crying, and she was like, you know, she was telling everybody out there about how the parents are all in this like auditorium, and they're finding out because they're trying to, you know, they were swabbing parents for their DNA, and they're trying to find out which one of the children was alive and everything else. I mean, it was one of the most horrific things last night. So what I would wanted to do, the thought that came to me is get all 50 of these senators, right? Get them on a list, record that situation that happened just now. And when it's time to vote this year, November, play that back as people are going to vote. That's the only thing I think can happen, because that's the only way I think people would even want to connect it to, because it seems that people tend to forget when it comes time to vote that we're just going through this. Because right now it's what month is now? We're in May, right? It's May.
Yeah.
Right. So when November comes around, people, because this stuff happens so frequently, some people tend to be numb about it. But why not let's play back what we heard and what we're seeing, what we're going through come time to election? Because the only way we're going to make changes, I think, is if we vote those same senators out, regardless of the party. Because one thing somebody said last night, I think it was Charles Barkley, I was 100% in agreement with this. People tend to want to vote for their party instead of want to vote what was right. To me, whoever's making sense of whatever's going on, whoever's going to make a difference, I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, you know, even though I'm a Democrat, if a Republican's going to make some difference, change everything else, let's go with that guy. If it's going to be a Democrat, let's go with that. Whoever it is, these people need to be held accountable. That's the way I feel. I mean,
absolutely. I feel that absolutely. I think one of the problems here that we have is when you have these major corporations or these lobbyists that give campaign contributions, and then it's like our senators or our elected officials feel beholden to the people who gave them money to get elected. Then when it comes time for their particular product or whatever comes out, then you have to vote based on your campaign contribution instead of voting based on the people that you actually represent. So where's your loyalty lie if you're a person in Congress? Do you lie with the people who you actually supposed to represent, or is your alliance to the people who gave you the campaign contribution? Because we talk about the NRA, and we know the NRA is really, really, really big. They have a lot of money. They give a lot of campaign contributions. And then when these votes come up, people vote seemingly in alliance with the NRA as opposed to the people that they're representing and the victims of this horrific gun violence. Mike, it seems like you have something else to say. What is it?
And one more thing, because I already know certain arguments that happen. They go, well, let's just say we make these laws. People are going to get them illegally. Okay. People drive illegally, but we still make them get driver's license, correct?
Absolutely.
We still make them go through what they have to go through. Absolutely. Yes, there are going to be people who get these illegally. My other question is, when these weapons that are used, we know the companies that make them. When are they going to be held responsible? When are they going to be held responsible? Because the minute they start getting their lawsuits, if your gun is used in a mass shooting, why aren't you held responsible for that? But there's always going to be a different debate. And people, stop falling for the nonsense that they're trying to take your guns. For years, they said Obama was going to take your guns. He never took your guns. We've never said you shouldn't have the right to bear arms. What we're saying is you shouldn't have the right to have a weapon that is used in war. That's a whole different story. Protecting your home, I agree. I understand the country that we live in, that women should, all of us, should be able to protect ourselves in danger. But we're not supposed to have a weapon that is being used in the Ukraine and in Russia.
Right.
Listen,
we're not supposed to have assault rifle.
Let me just say this. Yeah, exactly. If you have an AR-15, look, being in the military, you know, I see some of these things. If you have an assault rifle in your home, everything else, there's a problem with that. If you have a handgun, I don't got no problem with a handgun. But if you're walking around with an AR-15 or MK or one of those things like that, and you need to have one of those, what are you trying to do? You're trying to start a war? You're trying to go outside and kill everybody on your block or something like that? I don't get it.
Unfortunately, Frank, you know, man, the mindset.
We can go on.
I was about to say the mindset of these people that have assault rifles is pretty much the same mindset of the people who made the attack on the Capitol on the 6th. You know what I mean? That's the same mentality. You feel like, well, if the government comes to get me, I need to be able to fight. I think the whole thing is crazy and asinine. But like you said, we could really be talking about
this is my last thing. I know we got to go to sports. We had a 17-year-old go to a rally that his mom dropped him off at the rally. A 17-year-old with an AR-15. His mom dropped him off with the AR-15. He was given a bottle of water by the police after killing people. There is a severe problem in this country, and it is scary to where this may go. That's it. I'm sorry, guys, for being on my
The last point is that this doesn't happen in other countries the way that it does here in the United States. So it seems is that it's not a worldwide problem. It's a United States problem. And I have to say this, ironically, today is also the day that George Floyd was murdered. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I want to tie it into that a lot of WNBA players, they actually forfeited their season to go and to protest and to be a part of the solution. They actually took off. They said, we're not playing basketball because basketball isn't as important as what's going on in the United States of America. And I think that we should applaud because our women seemingly have always been on the front line of social justice and trying to fix what we have as far as social unrest. And now we're going to talk talking about the women. We also have two women that have decided that they're going to sue the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns hired Deshaun Watson, and they're appalled by the QB's $230 million contract. So two women came out and said, we're going to sue the Cleveland Browns because they gave Deshaun Watson a $230 million contract. Mike, what do you have to say about this?
When we spoke about this before, I said the Cleveland Brown organization is not ready for the pressure that they're going to get for signing Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. I'm not saying he's guilty, innocent, or anything like that. They are not built for this. Just imagine, y'all, if Deshaun Watson was a white quarterback, okay? And we'd find out he had 22 cases of racial discrimination. We would be going crazy right now. Women are not going to sit around and watch this guy quarterback and not cause a problem. This is going to get worse. When preseason starts, this is going to get worse. If you think people protested when Michael Vick had that situation with the dogs in Philadelphia, can you imagine the protests that are going to happen in Cleveland during preseason, during the regular season, when women get together and say, how can this happen when we don't know if he's innocent or guilty? I don't know if he's innocent or guilty. Right. I just know if there's one organization that is not built for this, it's the Cleveland Browns.
And here's another flip side to it, Frank, which gives me pause and kind of scares me that we give corporate America legal powers to levy against their employees when the law or the federal government doesn't. Like we have a system of laws, and when they say they don't find anything that you did wrong, can we turn around and give that power to punish the employees to these corporations? Is that going down a slippery slope? What do you have to say about that, Frank?
That's a good question. But to say, let me say this. Let me preface it by saying this. Roger Goodell might be trying to get ahead of that, because at the end of the day, Roger Goodell is already discussing about suspending Deshaun Watson 6 to 8 games off the top, because he's trying to get ahead of that situation. So to answer your question, Fig, yes, I think it's possible. But what Mike said is absolutely right. I mean, Michael Vick is a great example. The Ben Roethlisberger situation is another example. You could look at the Ray Rice situation. That was another example. Of course, when you do anything towards women, and women, let's be honest about this one fact. Men watch football, but they have all these products and stuff at the NFL. A lot of that stuff is being broadcast and advertised to the general audience. But a lot of the women who are sitting around the house, they have the power to buy, the power to purchase, and everything else. So it's a lot has to do with that. You know what I mean? And I'm only saying that to say the NFL is going to pay attention to that, because the spending power. If the women say it ain't going to fly, it ain't going to fly. Look who else is in the building.
Kenny Williams.
Kenny Williams. What up, big homie?
My man.
Hey, listen, Kenny, we were talking about, unfortunately, we have to be talking about this situation. Two women decided that they were going to sue the Cleveland Browns because they gave Deshaun Watson a $230 million guaranteed contract. And after he has all of these allegations, the question is that the law didn't find anything. They didn't find enough evidence to charge Deshaun Watson. But now they're putting pressure on the NFL seemingly to do what our law could not. Is that a slippery slope when corporations can punish employees where the law decided that they couldn't find any evidence enough to proceed? Are we going down a slippery slope when we do something like that? What do you have to say?
Yeah, it just looks bad. You know what I mean? It was too many allegations against the guy, and then it's like legally they couldn't do anything, and then here it is. It's like it's as if the NFL is it's like it condoned it by giving him more money. It looks like that way. You know what I mean? So it's like, but at the same time, legally, there's nothing really you can do because he wasn't found. It was legally anything anyone can do.
I think it's kind of funny when in America, we're in one of the countries where public opinion seems to be enough for you to be presumed guilty. We have people in this country that have gone on trial, been acquitted, and still carry the tag of what it is that they were accused of. We got OJ. People still to this day call OJ a murderer. When he went to trial, it was televised. We saw the whole thing. He was acquitted, but they call him a murderer. Michael Jackson, he's still considered to be a pedophile. Every time Michael Jackson went to court, he's never had any charges against him. We last but not least example, we had the Central Park Five. These guys went to prison. Come to find out, they wasn't guilty of anything. The problem is, what I'm thinking is that what happens when the court of public opinion finds you guilty when in all actuality, you might not be guilty of anything. Is that enough? And are we comfortable with that as a society?
Hey,
Mike, what do you have to say?
Hey, Fig, I'm rocking with you. Just keep OJ out of it. I'm rocking with everything you said.
The only reason,
I'm rocking. I know what you're saying, but I'm not rocking with OJ.
I understand. Listen, I know it's unpopular, but
Yeah.
the only reason I threw him in there, not to say guilt or innocence.
Right,
That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when he went to court, he was acquitted, but people still call him guilty.
It's the gift and the curse with public opinion.
Right.
There are a lot of people who make hundreds of millions of dollars off of public opinion. Bill Cosby, hundreds of millions of dollars, and he wasn't the person that we thought he was.
Absolutely.
And he made that money off of public opinion. So like I said, it's the gift and the curse. Sometimes public opinion can put you somewhere where you prove you're innocent, but everybody's like, we don't believe you. And sometimes you the worst person in the world, but public opinion says you're the greatest person in the world and you make the money. I'm not smart enough to give you a real good answer on that one. I'm just not.
So
Kenny, what you have to say?
So with Deshaun, what's going to happen to him? Just to catch me up, are they going to allow him to play?
The jury, no pun intended, but the jury is still out on that decision because right now the NFL is not doing anything. But there are two women who are suing the Cleveland Browns because they feel like it was a slap in the face to give him that $230 million contract. So listen, let's move on.
Real quick, I got a question for you. If the NFL suspends him, right, for 6 games, isn't that them admitting that they believe he did something?
Absolutely.
So you either don't suspend him and say we're going by what the courts say, or you're suspending him and saying you're going to get this $235 million guaranteed, but we believe you did something.
But here's the thing.
But you know what it is with corporations, and I mean cut you with corporations is conduct. That's how they could probably is conduct that is doesn't fit the brand. So conduct, they can go after him on conduct,
detrimental to the league.
Simply because the accusation. Now here's the funny. Simply because the accusations was made, it went against the what the shield stands for. But the NFL never laid it out with that sort of language. Listen, we can talk about this all day, but let's move on. The Golden State Warriors played their 4th game last night, and they seem to fall to the Dallas Mavericks. Mike, we talked about this yesterday afternoon, and we sort of felt like this was going to be the outcome. I did not put any money on the game. I hope somebody did because it seemed like we all predicted that the Golden State Warriors were going to lose last night. What do you have to say about that, Mike? What do you think about the game?
This might be unpopular, right? At some point, we got to move the 3-point line back. At some point, the 3-point line is going to have to get moved back, y'all. Because it's getting to the point right now that, the Mavericks were at a point where they hit 18 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be a point where we're going to have to move this line back because it's getting ridiculous. Because once a team hits 15 3-pointers, they win.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you can do, but that 3-point line is going to have to get moved back because this is ridiculous at this point. And we can't even blame the refs because, our conspiracy theory was that the refs were going to make it very difficult because they want an extra game.
Right.
When I saw that last night, I was like, dog, we got to do something. Like, we got to move it back. I don't know how far you move back that 3-point line, but it's got to go. It's got to move back, because at a certain point, the ratings had to plummet. Because by halftime, I already took my sleeping pills. I was already at halftime. I was already Z-quelled out. I took like 4 Z-quells. I was out.
Kenny, let me ask you. Hold on, wait a minute. I asked you a question. Now, if they move the line back, does that mean that Steph Curry will be the only person that can knock down threes? What do you guys say, Kenny?
If you do that, if you move back the line, then you have to raise the rim, right? Like it's you just have to be more. You have to defend it more. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to move it,
because they moved the line back before.
They did, yeah. Because it used to be the same. It used to be the same like college. Like college is right there at the edge of the top of the key, and for the NBA, it's moved back a little further. But that one in the corner is the shortest distance to the three.
And my thing is, if you move the line back, it brings back the mid-range game. And now it brings back guys who are going to now you're not going to have everybody shoot. Now people are going to be taking a whole ball back to the basket and start driving. Because at this point, man, listen, at this point, all you got to do is say, if this team hits 12 3-pointers, whoever hits 12 3-pointers wins.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
That's pretty much it. And I'm going to tell you, there's a couple of guys that dominate even today. So 2 of our most dominant players is Kawhi Leonard, which we haven't seen this year because of injury, and DeMar DeRozan. Like, these guys are like prolific mid-range scorers. I mean, there are other guys that could do it too, but analytics has made it so that everybody wants to shoot the long ball, and they say that chicks love the long ball. Frank, I know you married. What do you have to say about that?
What are we doing? What are we doing, Fid? Why you gotta be childish?
I'm trying to bring a little humor and lighten up what seems to be a heavy show today. We're trying to lighten it up ever so slightly.
Go ahead, Frank. Answer the question.
I don't know about chicks. I don't know about chicks loving the long ball. I know a chick loves the long ball. I don't know about chicks. Y'all will get killed for that one. But look, my take on the game last night is simple, man. I hear about you saying about throwing. I think the game was gone the minute I saw Steve Kerr's press conference, bro. I was like, yeah. And if you notice this too. The players who've been on the team the longest, they all out of sync. The younger players they played last night, they weren't so out of sync. I watched the second half. They ended up storming all the way back because those guys were just trying to ball out. You know what I mean? They were playing and they got the game they got the lead down to 7. You know what I mean? I was like, okay. But all the starting 5, if you guys know the starting 5, once Steve Kerr came in and everything, and we saw what he said in the press conference. Can you imagine what he was like right in the locker room before the game? Yeah. So I was like, yeah, this game is definitely going to be an L for Golden State. Now, I say all to say, once it gets back to Golden State, it's going to be a wrap. I don't think anybody's going to believe that. Yeah, it's going to be a wrap.
That is going to be what we call a Texas sandwich. It is going to be a wrap. Yeah. Hey, listen, man, and it didn't help that when they came back at halftime, the whole stadium was leaking water like a leaky faucet, man. It was all, but it just so happened where it leaked was at where the Golden State Warriors bench was. I was like, okay, what kind of conspiracy is this that's going on, man? They had to delay the game for a certain period of time. It was just crazy, man. Kenny, I don't know whether you saw the game or whatever last night. I know you've been watching the game because I've been seeing your posts, man. What do you have to say about last night, the game last night, man?
I even put a post up that the Golden State were going to Home Depot to buy some brooms because it's going to be right. I really thought I thought they was going to sweep them, right? So like you said, they played one game, they kept it alive, but I don't see them taking it and once they go back to Golden State.
Dog, you know what the most torturous thing is, to have to hear Charles Barkley try and extend and mispronounce more words. Like it was like, dude, like we the last thing I needed was some more words being used in improper context. And I was like, I said, here we go. And
Yo,
Mark Cuban should be embarrassed. Mark Cuban, you a billionaire. How the hell you got a leak? You got a leak in your arena. Like, come on, Mark. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. Mark Cuban, you see him on the phone, he was calling his insurance. I think he was calling Jake from State Farm. He's like, listen, I gotta leak you.
Not only that, Mark Cuban was embarrassed because now he became the only NBA team ever in NBA history to have a game stall for a rain delay. You know he was upset. Like,
a rain delay in basketball. How about that?
For a rain delay.
How about you keep your ass off a Shark Tank for a while and make sure your ceiling is correct during an NBA playoff game? That was hilarious.
As if it doesn't rain in Dallas. I heard that was Southern California. I ain't know it didn't rain in Dallas either. It was ridiculous, man. But listen, the Golden State Warriors, they fell last night. But the young players, man, I did watch the second half, man. The young players, Steve Kerr said, look, I'm sitting down to all my starters and I'm putting in all these young players. And this is something that I've been saying for a long time. I was like, Golden State seems like they have a decent bench and their future is going to be extremely bright. These young guys went on and they brought the game, like Frank said, all the way back to 7 points, man. And then Steve Kerr makes the bonehead decision of putting back in the starters because I guess he felt like, oh, we're within reach. If I put the starters back in, we can win the game. My thought process is the guys who got you here, stay with them and see if they can win the game. He put them in and they extended it out and ended up losing the game.
Go ahead, Fig. Right? Go ahead, Fig. You try and keep Steph Curry on the bench when they got a chance to win and see what that relationship's going to be like when we get to the locker room. You try and tell Clay and Draymond Green that we down by 7 and I'm going to keep these young boys in and see what that meeting's going to be like in the locker room afterwards. Like
with 4 minutes left.
Yeah, Steve know better than to just sit those superstars. Like those dudes have made him.
Yeah,
like, you care. Like I get what you're saying because what you're saying makes common sense. But Steve Kerr also knows he don't want to mess up this relationship for the rest of his career. He's like,
so basically,
so you say, Mike, if it was another coach, that he would have been able to do that?
No, I don't think any coach. I don't think Greg Pop. I think the only coach that might have been gangster enough to do it would have been Popovich. I think Greg Popovich is the only one ignorant enough to be like, you know what? Since y'all were the one who gave up the lead, I'm not bringing y'all back in. I don't think Steve Kerr wants to lose the locker room. That's what I think.
You know, after all of these years and the relationship they have on and off the court, I don't think he'd lose their relationship. But also, I do understand what you're saying. Like you definitely got to put your guys back in the game and stuff like that, man. But I just thought the game was. It seemed like it was out of reach last night. You know what I mean? So I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. But look, let's go into another story. Here's another team that I think we all expected to be in the playoffs and probably make it to the finals. The Brooklyn Nets have decided that they're unwilling to give Kyrie Irving a long-term contract based on the fact that, they're saying because the vaccine. And I know you. This is one of your things. He decided to get unvaccinated and had what we would call in the corporate world unexcused absences. So they're unwilling to give him a long-term contract. Mike, I know this is your thing. This is one of your things that you have a problem with. What do you have to say about the Brooklyn Nets and unwilling to give Kyrie Irving his contract?
Kenny, you've promoted comedy shows. Fig, you've promoted comedy shows. We've all promoted comedy shows.
Yeah.
And there's a dude that could be a comedian that's hilarious, but is notorious for not showing up. You gonna keep booking him? Kyrie is amazing. Amazing. But understand, I said this before, Kyrie has morals. If some social unrest were to happen next year, let's say something happens and something normally does happen, Kyrie's the type of dude that'd be like, I'm gonna need like 3 weeks off, to get over what's going on.
Yeah.
I can't give you $200 million and be like, whatever you decide that your mind ain't right, that you're not gonna play.
Yeah. And here we go. Not only did he take off, well, he had to take off. That wasn't really his fault by not getting unvaccinated. But when we had the attack on the Capitol, Kyrie Irving felt the need to take off because it was just too much going on, and he just needed a moment. I just can't play basketball. Frank, come on, man. I need to hear what you got to say about this, man.
I think the story's even bigger than that, Fig. I think the Brooklyn Nets is laying it out there by putting that rumor out there right now that they preparing the world that Kyrie Irving's gonna get traded, bro. And something that Mike been saying for a while. You know what I mean? Mike been saying that for a while. That's number one. And number two, let's look at it like how you're saying. Like, I wouldn't pay nobody who every time some kind of situation. You know what? Something happened in California and I need to take some time off. I can't do it because my mind ain't right from that situation. Or something happened in Minnesota, my mind ain't right. That's a lot of money. You're selling T-shirts, you're selling just a lot of accessories and stuff right around that player with the player's face on it, and he don't show up for the game. Matter of fact, look at it like this. If you go, or Mike, or you, Kenny, you go to you pay your money. Like most people, they buy the tickets a while in advance because it costs a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to see Kyrie Irving playing, and it's November 15th, but you buy tickets in July or August, and then you get ready to go to the game, and he ain't showing up. How pissed are you gonna be? So you can imagine their customer service office too. So there's a lot of things to this, bro. A lot to it.
Absolutely, man. It's a lot to unpack, man. Fans definitely come to see the stars. They don't come to see the referees. That's why you hate when you see a game where they just blowing whistles constantly and stuff like that. We come to see the stars play basketball. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. We all know Kyrie Irving is a superstar. Box office, as they say. If he doesn't show up, you're disappointed. What is your feelings, Kenny, about the Nets' position not to give him a long-term contract based on his prior actions and not showing up to work?
Michael said perfect example. Like, we know as far as producing shows, like after a while, like funny is not enough, right? And then same thing like relationship, love is not enough. Like, so for him, there's no way that I can think in long term when all of your behavior is like, I can't put my money on that, right? Like I would, and it's so funny, like you wondering like how good a friend is Kevin Durant. Like, he signed up with this dude, right? And this dude, I come here instead of going, like they say, to the Knicks or whatever the case may be. And then it became a domino effect. Harden went somewhere else. And then this was a bust. So y'all was supposed to be in the Eastern Conference Finals with the team that they had. And they had a deep enough bench. But this one person, there's no way you can get around it. It was the fault of Kyrie Irving.
Absolutely. And the funny thing about it is, it's funny that you mentioned James Harden, Kenny, because if Kyrie shows up and he plays, I don't think James Harden leaves. I think those three stay together and they make a run at it. Injuries you can't do anything about, but just unexcused absences, man. I think you keep these big three together and they possibly go on to do something special. Mike, what do you think about that? Do you think James Harden actually stays if Kyrie Irving is playing along and being able to play these games?
He probably would have stayed, but I think he really wanted to go to the Sixers in the beginning.
Yeah.
And the general manager for the Sixers, him and that dude,
Daryl
Morey, them guys hang out. That ain't no regular general manager player thing. Those guys actually hang out together. But I think he probably would have been forced to stay in Brooklyn because he wouldn't have had an excuse to be able to get out of there. So I think he probably would have stayed in that situation. But I think he wanted to go to Philadelphia. But he wouldn't have been able to go. And listen, Kyrie's y'all do know Nike doesn't want to give Kyrie the rest of his contract.
Oh yeah, that was already reported. They're pulling their endorsement. I thought we talked about that already. Nike decided that once this contract is up, they're pulling their endorsement with Kyrie Irving. Like, cause how can you sell my shoes if nobody can see you? If you're not playing and you're not on the court, nobody can see my shoes. Nobody's interested in my shoes. Frank, what do you got to say about that? One, does James Harden stay if Kyrie plays? And two, does Kyrie Irving get his contract if he's playing?
It's interesting you put it like that, because Kyrie definitely, if he stays, James Harden plays, but James Harden will probably still play the same way he played in Philly. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. There's that. But look at the domino effect of what's happening. Like I always say, cause and effect. You know what I mean? If he ain't on the court and Nike pulls their thing, that's also telling the ownership at Brooklyn that if Nike's pulling their ass and everything, then we can pull it, and we won't be the number one person who started doing something. You know what I mean? It's a business thing that's going to happen. So now then once the biggest endorser of their team pulls out, but it's going to get very, very ugly very, very quickly. But here's the question for you guys: where does he go after that? Because he's going to get traded. He's going to get traded.
I don't know. My problem is I don't know if I don't know what team would be willing to give Kyrie Irving a long-term contract. Here's a flip side to that, Frank. Do you take Kyrie on a year-to-year basis? What do you have to say to that? Kenny, what do you have? Kyrie Irving, if you're a GM of a team, you need a star point guard. If you could get Kyrie, say it's 50 grand a year, incentive built. Like if you play X amount of games,
50 grand.
Your contract is fully guaranteed. Whatever the number is, 30, 40, whatever it is per year, but incentive based. Do you take on Kyrie on a year-to-year basis? Does that solve your problem and make you comfortable with taking him on? What do you have to say about that, Kenny?
I think the only team I could see is a team that needs butts and seats, that have not even looking at a championship, that's in the rebuild. But I don't see a championship built or looking to pursue championship grabs of Kyrie. Not from Cleveland, from Boston. Like it's a behavior. It's not just the Nets. He was an issue even in with the Celtics. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't see any team that's built, that's ready to playoffs and what have you, take on Kyrie, even for a year to year. Because even look at a season. A season can mess you up.
Yeah.
So it's not even a long term. It's like each season counts. Each season is a championship, is a run for a championship. So
it absolutely could be. Here's the thing. This is the one team that I know that is willing to mend fences with a player after it seems like it was completely burned down. Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
What do you think about Kyrie possibly going back to Cleveland on a year-to-year basis? Mike, what do you think? You think Dan Gilbert be willing to take Kyrie back?
No, because I think they got a nice young team, and I don't think they want to affect their locker room right now. If I'm reading this right, Kyrie has one more year left on his contract.
He does.
He has one more year at $36 million.
Yeah, but his last year that he has on his contract is an opt-in year. That is for him to opt in.
So he has to opt in for that.
He has to opt in, right? But Brooklyn can still decide to say that they don't want him to opt in. So that's why Brooklyn is looking at that option and say, we could trade him right now. So,
how about this? This might not make no sense, but I'll say this. Let's say he opts in. Portland's gonna lose Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
Damian Lillard's he's gonna leave eventually. Like he can only be so loyal, but for so long. Like goddamn, he's been more loyal than Will Smith. Like he can only be so loyal. Like the dude, trade him to Portland and say, Portland, listen, take this problem. At least you got him for a year. Give us Dame Lillard, and Kevin Durant can finally be happy and have somebody. But I'm gonna say this one more time. I know Kevin Durant wakes up every morning and looks in that mirror and says, "Why the hell did I leave Golden State?" I know every morning he looks.
Oh my! He ain't waking up in the morning. He's sitting there rolling that blunt, talking about, "Damn, what the hell did I do?"
What was I thinking?
You roll that like, what the hell? Because you know he smokes.
Yeah.
What the hell did I do? Yeah, but on what Mike is saying too, Fig, you gotta look at this too. Utah's trying to get rid of Donovan Mitchell too. So you know what I mean? So he could
That
go.
would be nice. That would be a nice consolation, man. Wow. You get rid of Kyrie and get a Donovan Mitchell, boy, let me tell you.
Yeah,
That would
but
make
also,
the Nets, listen, the Nets would be, the funny thing, that would be a nice trade. But here's the thing, I'm thinking now, it just crossed my mind. Ben Simmons is there and he's expected to come back healthy. So do you need two ball dominant guys? And you know that Donovan Mitchell is a point guard. Then they got Ben Simmons. I don't know, man. Is that too much?
Dog. Kevin Durant has to be smoking the strongest blunts ever. Think about this. Kyrie don't play what he don't want to play. And Ben Simmons, when he does play, won't shoot. This poor man, Kevin Durant, is in the worst situation in the NBA.
Y'all talking about Kevin Durant smoking blunt, man. He like this.
Kevin Durant smoking that good stuff called Night Train right about now.
Got to, dog. I feel bad for him. But, dog, what did you do? You don't leave a dynasty. You just don't leave.
But see, I think his situation was, to me, was like Ben Simmons. You just could not deal. I just think he couldn't deal with Draymond Green. It was sort of like some sort of bullying that was going on. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think.
Kevin Durant, he's all world basketball, but his relationship with his teammates, how they used to say back in the day, leaves a little something to be desired. He had the same problem with Russell, like he had a problem with Russell Westbrook that he couldn't confront him, you know what I mean, head on. So he went to the front office and he ends up in Golden State. He has this thing with Draymond Green. The front office says, look, we really want to keep you. Nah, I'm gone. I'm leaving. Now he has another problem. It's with Kyrie Irving. It's just like he always has a problem with that one teammate and he can't stick it out for the sake of the game itself. But listen, we can talk about these guys literally all day. I want to move on to something else, man. The All-NBA team came out. And on the All-NBA team, listen who we got. The top is Giannis, the Joker, and Doncic. Those were the top three. Now, we also had Jason Tatum that was in there, but these were the top three. We had Jason Tatum that was also one of there. And we want to know, did Joel Embiid get snubbed? Because Joel Embiid didn't make it.
I definitely think he did. And I'm
You
not
think he got snubbed, Frank?
I'm not even a big Joel Embiid fan like that, but boy, when you look at his numbers and his statistics, man, honestly, somebody said something this morning. They should just do it by votes instead of doing it by votes per position. You know what I mean? They should just do the top couple of voters and get them in the top 5, and then the next group votes, and the next 5, and the next group vote. But they didn't do it like that. They did it by voting and
by position, which is kind of ironic to me because they tell us we're in a state of positionless basketball. So how are we playing positionless basketball? And now you're going to vote by position, Mike. I have a big question. What do we say when the 3 top players that got all NBA are not even American players? We got the Joker, we got Doncic, and we got Giannis. They're all from other countries. What do you got to say about that, Mike?
The NBA got what they want.
Yeah,
they got an international game. They got a game where their product sales are being sold all over the place. Shout to Yao Ming, who was one of the first people who started it, who got that international flavor going on, and it's only going to get worse. I shouldn't say worse. Let me take that back, because it doesn't mean it's worse. It just means that we got quality basketball coming from all over the world. That's all it means.
You know who won a lot of championships? I'm going to throw it to you, Kenny. A lot of championships was made with international players, and it blows our mind. If you really focus on it, the San Antonio Spurs been doing this for years. Tony Parker was French. Tim Duncan was from one of the islands. I forget which one of the islands, but
Virgin Islands.
Tim Duncan was from and we know Manu Ginobili was from another country too. So they've been their core 3 was from another country. Kenny, what do you have to say about this, man? The state of the NBA basketball when your top 3 all NBA players were from another country.
Well, so just help me out. Is Embiid? I thought Embiid was from another country.
He is, but Embiid didn't make All NBA. I think if anything, he didn't make top All NBA. I don't think he made it. If anything, he was third.
He was third in his position, but he was second team All NBA. He made second team,
third in his position, second team All NBA. So I mean, I felt like Joel Embiid balled out this year. It seems like he was in contention for the MVP. So how are you in contention for the MVP and don't make All NBA? Do you think that the voters actually held him out because he really campaigned for MVP? He felt like he was the MVP, and then when he didn't get it, he sort of spoke about it. Do you think the voters kept him out of the All NBA on purpose?
I think you know what happened with Embiid. Throughout he just started really playing seriously. He was always doing a lot of goofy, whatever, what have you. And now he's just starting to play MVP like the last 2 years. But throughout, he used to play like a lot of goofy, what have you. So no, I don't think anyone really had him in the voting until the last 2 years. Now we're going like, okay, this man is really playing seriously.
Yeah, right. But Kenny, he got dissed, bro. Let's be honest, bro. He got dissed.
No. He got. I'm just saying what I think the thinking of. Did he get snubbed? Yes. I think he even got snubbed for the MVP. Right. His numbers was incredible, especially with all the moving things that was happening with his team.
Let me just say this. I don't think it's ever happened in NBA history where a guy who was considered for MVP came in and would then ended up being second team All NBA. I don't think that's ever happened.
I just want to make sure we're right, because what I'm looking at, he did make it.
No, he didn't make All NBA. He did not make first team All NBA.
Not first team All NBA. The top three was Giannis, Joker, and Doncic, and also on the list was Devin Booker of the Suns and Jason Tatum of the Celtics. They made first team All NBA. That was the top ones right there. The top five vote getters was those five right there. And listen, man, I know we at the end of the show, but there's some good news here that I think that I would like to. Omar Khan is to be named the Pittsburgh Steelers GM this year. Man, he's a brother, and Omar Khan don't sound like your typical Kenny Williams. You know what I mean? You hear Kenny Williams say that's a brother right there. Like Kenny Williams' brother. But you hear Omar Khan. He's been with the organization for over 20 years, 2 decades, 45 years old. He's going to be a GM. Does this say that the NFL is finally catching on to the fact where they need to put people of color in positions of power, or is just a Pittsburgh Steeler thing? Because we know their owner, Mr. Rooney, started the whole thing, the Rooney Rule. What do you think about that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kenny.
Go ahead, Frank. What you saying?
I was going to say, this is the thing where the NFL is trying to get ahead of that Brian Flores lawsuit, when Brian Flores is suing the NFL as an entirety and singled out certain teams too. That's all that is, bro. So,
and you know, the funny thing, Flores happens to be an assistant coach on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. That's all that is, bro.
It's kind of good. What do you think about Kenny?
It's just to piggyback off of Frank, is like they've been trying to do this whole PR thing to clean up, because that whole Brian Flores, it really put, we already knew, but it really put it out there on the headlines as far as like what the NFL is about. And it's so funny that all these black hires are only coming from the Rooney Rule with Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not coming across the whole NFL. You know, so it's like
just one team.
Yeah.
One team got all the black players.
Yeah.
all the black front office. Mike, what do you have to say before we wrap it up?
The Steelers, look, shout to y'all, because that Kwanzaa celebration is going to be amazing.
Oh man, listen, man, that's about our show for the day, man. I appreciate you guys for chiming in today. Mike, Kenny, our principal, Frank Holder. Mike, tell the people out there where they can follow you.
Follow me at Mike Sean Comedy on all social media platforms. And if you in Philly this weekend, I'll be at the Punchline Comedy Club. So come check us out. Shout out to my man, Teray Gordon.
Nice, man. Dope. Kenny Williams, how we can follow you, man?
Ain't that crazy? Me and him are working the same club. We doing the whole weekend. So I'm gonna be in Philly with my man Teray. Put the whole Memorial Weekend together. He got a crazy lineup for the weekend. So they could follow me, Kenny Will Comedy across all social media.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Philadelphia is going to be on fire this weekend.
Yes.
If y'all in the Philadelphia area, make sure you go check out these two hilarious comedians right here. Frank, where can they follow you if absolutely necessary?
I got a comedy show too, except it's for my 1-year-old nephew. Me and him are going to be together this Memorial weekend. That's it. I'm babysitting. I'm babysitting.
I'm trying to hear that, Frank, because let me tell you something. After you get over 50, they usually God made sure that when you got 50, he don't give you no children because he know you be too tired to handle them.
So you already know, come Monday, I'm gonna be like, oh God, I'm gonna be in pain. Humor Mill on all social media platforms, humor_mill, and download the app because obviously the show will be there. We got a couple other shows, it's a broadcast channel. So that's it for me.
Check your boy Fig out at Comedian Fig on all social media platforms. That was our show for today. We thank y'all for tuning in, and we hope to see you back again tomorrow. We want to thank Mike, Kenny, Frank. I'm your boy Fig.